Hi, and welcome to PDX Garden Home. I'm Tyee, and I've been trying to get the lawn mowed today, what I call the lawn. It's been nice and tall and thick and needed mowing, but it's more of a field of clover these days than it is a lawn. I'm sure many of you experienced that. At some point I'm going to take the time to learn how to do it right and get that perfect green lawn, but I got so much else going on around here that's not been the priority yet. And speaking of what's going on around here, it's a nice day here in Portland, Oregon, but it is overcast, and this is mid-August, and that's been kind of the way the weather's been lately here in Portland. We've had a few days in the last a couple of weeks where it's been sprinkling here and there, and it's been cool, and then we've had days where it's been really hot, and so we've had kind of erratic weather, which makes gardening all the more challenging. And as many of you know, that the challenges involved in that have to do with whether you can really successfully grow hot weather crops, and I think probably the catch 22 on that whole thing is, if we knew that it wasn't going to be hot enough to consistently grow our hot weather crops, we'd like to grow some cool weather crops, right? But those cool weather crops then end up bolting on the days where it gets super hot. So we're kind of stuck with an interesting challenge of waiting it out the weather and seeing where it goes. But you know, this is only mid-August, and here in Portland, Oregon, we'll probably have good days all the way through potentially mid-October to keep gardening. So I think a lot of people think because school schedules say that end of August is end of summer, that's end of summer, but not really here in Portland. I think we still have a good number of good gardening days for warmer weather that can carry us at least through September. But we'll see how it goes. Well, we've got a lot to do around here, so let's get to it.
Coming up on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at planting peas for fall, both peas for pea tips and for the fresh pea pods. Then we're going to head on over to our kale bed and see how we grow kale, what kind of kale we grow, and how we go about harvesting it. And finally, we're going to check out how we go about growing bok choy from seed to planting it out into the garden beds.
So we have some peas set up for fall, and we have some out here and then also in the greenhouse. We've got two different varieties in the two different trays. You can't really tell the difference, at least I can't right now, but the tray on the right hand side here is alderman, and we're using that to actually create the pea shoots of eating the top, the tips, this as a green, as a veggie basically. And then on the left hand side is the super sugar snap peas, and those will eat the pea pods, the sugar snap peas, when they grow. And so I've never really tried to grow seriously this for the fall, so we're going to plant in now. It's August, so that's it'll be interesting to see if they're able to survive the heat long enough to then get into the cool weather and then do well after that. So we'll give it a shot. So these are alderman peas. I have another tray like this in the greenhouse, and I'm going to be planting these out here. No net or anything, because I'm not going to really let them grow very tall. We're going to be cutting the tips as a green. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. The challenge, what I see as the challenge, is that it's August, and I feel like I've got to get them in the ground now for them to really be set and ready to produce a green for us for the fall season. But it's usually gets pretty hot here in August. It's mid-August, and so I'm worried after planting these out that they might actually get fried in the heat and not survive to the fall. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Some of these actually already look fried, unfortunately. See, I've got a lot of roots in there, so they were probably left them in here too long is going to be my challenge, but I'm still going to give it a go. And that's pretty much how it goes. I'm going to keep filling this out, and that'll be that. I won't make you sit here and watch me. I'll let you kind of go check out what else is going on in the garden. See ya. Well, hey, this is my kale bed here. It's actually a brassica bed. We've had broccolis and cabbages, and we have some leftover potatoes from last year kind of springing up in here too, which I've let happen. So we got some volunteer potatoes out of it this year, which was cool. But what I wanted to show you here in this segment was our kale, and kind of the primary kale crop we grow is this Italian variety, which has the kind of slang term dino kale. I like it. I just clip leaves off of it as it goes, and I let it continue kind of growing up. So I'll bring you in closer to see how we do it. I do grow other kinds of kale from time to time. We've previously grown curly kale and red Russian kale and things like that. I just like this variety the most in terms of using in stir fries and salads, and my family and the people that we share with tend to like this variety the most. My wife likes it the most, so that's why we're growing mostly this at this point. But for the fall winter garden, I do have like a blue curl kale, I think, that we're putting in as well. So we'll see that later in the year. All right, well, let me bring you in closer as I harvest this, so you can kind of see how we treat it. Here, got a basket here that I'm gonna. And so normally what I do is I throw the pieces that I don't want. So anything that has holes in it. Pieces that I don't want, the stuff that's got holes in it. This is probably from a cabbage worm or a caterpillar is most likely what's doing some of this. That's pretty common here in the summer to have that on my brassicas, and I let them take some, and then usually I still have some, and so that works out okay. I also use the BT spray to try to cut down on the amount of it, and usually I'd have something with me to throw this in. Actually, I'll go get something. I'm going to get a yellow bucket. Never mind. I'm just gonna throw this in the pathway, and I'll clean it up later after the video, so I won't make you sit through that piece. So I'm just cutting off kind of the dead and old stuff I don't want, while I'm also harvesting the stuff that I do want. Stuff that I do want goes in the basket. Stuff that I don't want might go in a bucket or wheelbarrow, but for now, just throwing in the path right now. So, yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised how much stuff that looks good gets also thrown out in the grand scheme of things. And that's the thing with a garden is that I mean, I throw out a lot of stuff. It's a somewhat of a closed loop system. It goes back into the compost, which then goes into the soil and we use it again, so it's not waste in that sense. But now this kale's got some interesting white kind of stuff on it. It'll come off. I've seen it before, but I don't think I really know what it is. I don't think it's a mold, but I'm not sure. Maybe it is a bug or part of the bug damage. One, two, three, four, five. That's about 6 plants harvest so far. And I mean, they'll keep growing. I'll keep harvesting off these through, I'll be harvesting off these same kale plants through October, I think. Yeah, there's some little kind of white flies on there. That's not normal. I haven't had that problem before. I'll have to look it up. I've heard the term white fly, but I don't know how it works or what they get into or what the best practices are for getting rid of it or preventing it. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to prick out this Bok Choy here, and originally the intent was to grow these and prick them out into little cell trays, but I let it go too long, so these Bok Choy are actually getting quite mature, so I'm going to go ahead and try to prick them out and put them straight into the garden bed, and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing on that, and then we can come back and look at what happens later. I mean, we're in August, and it's overcast today, but there's a fair chance that some of this would just bolt once I put it in. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I've got my pricking out tool is kind of a leftover little mini fondue fork from some of these mini fondue set that I found in a house that we bought, and so I'm using. This has been one of my best tools in terms of pricking things out and teasing out roots and things. It works really well. So I just prick out the seedling like that, and this is what will ultimately go in the ground. But for now, I'm just going to store a bunch of them in a tray so I can kind of put them all in here and then take them out into the garden bed and put them in there. And what I'm looking for on these is signs that they've already been stressed enough that they're starting to bolt. That may be the case with some of these, in which case I would just throw them out. As you can see, we've got a lot in here, so I won't make you watch me pull all these out. I'll cut the video and you can watch me put them into the ground. Okay, so we have a couple of different brassica beds here this season. We had 3 brassica beds. We had one here, one over here, and then one back that way. I'm going to go ahead and plant the Bok Choy that we were pricking out earlier in this spot here. Now this is a little bit risky because this spot doesn't have any kind of shade to it, and while it's overcast today, we are in August in Portland, Oregon, so there's a good chance that it'll get pretty hot here, and that may cause these to burn or otherwise bolt. A better strategy or a different strategy which might work out better would be maybe interplant them with the other stuff that is already leafed out so that they have some cover a little bit, but I just didn't feel like I just don't want to do that right now. My gut feeling is I want to fill this area and give it a try at least. So I already kind of know I might regret it, but we're going to go ahead and do it, and then we'll see how it turns out. So here are my seedlings that I had pricked out earlier, and now the blue bucket there is some all-purpose fertilizer from a company here in town called Concentrate. I'm gonna start with that. So I'm gonna, and maybe what I'll do, I'll create a trough and then put these seedlings in by hand here. tell I'm just eyeballing the spacing. I'm not being super picky with it. I know many of these will not survive anyway, so I'm just putting them in, and I'll pull out the ones that bolt or don't make it. Hopefully we'll have a few that survive and do okay. When I'm done with this, I'm going to water it in. This bed will get watered today anyway from the overhead sprinklers that I have going, but I'm going to water this one specifically and just make sure there's no doubt that these seedlings have good water. And these seedlings, these Bok Choy seedlings, they actually will grow roots along the stem. So you can, I think I can bury them. I can bury the stem a bit because I can see where the roots are growing from the stem already on some of them. So I guess I could have been more uniform with it by lining these up this way, but I didn't. Oops. Okay, well, that's it for now. On to the next project. I bet you're wondering what this thing is around my neck here. We had some friends that we visited while we were in Toronto, Canada, and our friends are from Hong Kong, and apparently this is something that some guys will wear while working out or jogging kind of outside or whatever they're doing in the outdoor heat in Hong Kong. It's a personal fan that keeps you cool, and so our friends anyway had seen some of my videos online and saw me working in the garden and thought, wow, this is something maybe Tyee could use over there at PDX Garden Home. So a shout out to Don and Gary, thank you. This is it actually works. It's kind of fun and interesting, and not only a piece of interest for people, but also it is functional. It does kind of keep you cool if you're kind of out in the heat. It's got various speed settings on it and everything, and it charges with a USB cable, like your phone mic. So that's that, and otherwise that's it for this week at PDX Garden Home. I look forward to seeing you guys in our next set of videos, and if you're enjoying these videos and you think they're a good idea, please subscribe and please tell your friends and family about it so that we can build this and keep it going. All right, take care. Bye.